Hello everyone, it's Dave here from SaveDex. We've got 3 Super Nintendo games added to the Nintendo Switch Online app for Super Nintendo games. We've got Donkey Kong Country 2, a game called Peacekeepers, and we got Mario Super Picross, which is a puzzle game, and it's in Japanese, this one. So for those people that might not know what Picross is, never played it, I thought I'd give a little gameplay demonstration here just so you know what to do, because there is a tutorial by the looks of it, but the problem is if you don't speak Japanese you won't actually know how to play this. So that's just a little explanation of the tutorial here. I can't read that. Luckily I know how to play this game anyway, so I don't need a tutorial, so I thought I'd just quickly showcase to you what Picross is. So as you can see, I've done a few of these puzzles already. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with an easy one just so I can explain the rules to you, then we're going to jump into a harder one and I'll talk you through my mindset going in. So as you start one, this text box here asks you if you want a hint or not. So basically you fills in some of the puzzle for you before you get started. So I'm going to say no. So now this is an insanely easy Picross puzzle. So it's a 5x5 grid. Basically it makes a picture. You've got to fill in the correct tiles to make a picture. But how do we know what tiles to fill in? So at the top here we've got some numbers. At the side here we've got some numbers. These numbers tell you how many tiles in that particular row or column get filled in. So it's quite easy to start with. That one says 5 and there's only 5 tiles, so we know all 5 of them get filled in. Now where this row here says 3, it means 3 in a row. They have to be touching each other, the tiles. They can't be like 1, a gap and then 2, because if it was that it would say 1, 2. That means there's a gap between the 1 and the 2, but if it says 3, has to be 3 in a row. So on this column here, we've got them all filled in. So we know for this row, the 2 tiles surrounding it have to be touching. So it could be that one, or it could be that one and that one. That's the only way we can make a 3 on this row. So we know for sure it has to be that one, but we don't know whether the other number is there or there. So, because if I press the wrong one, it will lose 2 minutes on our time, run out of time, and it's game over, you're out. So on this column here, we've got a 2. So we know that has to be that one because it has to be touching that. So if you press B, you make an X, and then we know that column's done with. Because I've done that X, it helps you to visualise what ones to help you fill out the other rows and columns, because now looking at this row we know there has to be a 2 on the right hand side of it. There's a 1 there, that one has to be a 2, but we don't know which of these is the 1 yet because it could be either. Same with this row, there's a 2 there and same there, we don't know which one's the 1 yet. But on this column here we know there's a 4, so those 2 have to be it. That one's a blank because we've already done our 4 in that column, so that has to be a 3, so we'll mark that as a blank. This column only has 1 in, so we're going to fill in those, which means that has to be the 1 for that 1 and 2, which means the 3 has to fill in like that, and that is our picture done. What is it? This is the thing about this column. I don't really know what that's supposed to be. In the Game Boy one it told you afterwards what it is, but it's in Japanese. I don't know what these pictures are meant to be. Some of them I've made out, and like you see on the ones I've already done, we've got a boat there and we've got like I don't know if that's meant to be an anchor or not. So I've basically explained the rules very briefly to you there, just to give you an idea on the simple one. So we're going to jump into a hard one. The hardest one I can go to right now. So the L one. So we're just going to do this one. I've not seen this one before. I'm going to work it out and I'm going to explain to you my thought process going in. Okay, so this one is a harder one. So let's look. Right away we've got a 6 and a 2. So I know that could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space 1, 2. Or it could be a 2 there, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a difficult one. We're not going to do that yet. A little trick I do is, this column here is an 8. So that 8 could start on the top row and if I counted down 8, it stops there. If I started from the bottom row and counted up 8, it would stop there. So I know from that one to that one, wherever the 8 is, it has to be covering these tiles. So I will fill those in, and that will give me a head start. So I know those have to be filled in. Same with the 7. If it starts on the very top or starts on the very bottom, area in between, it would have to end there, or it would have to end there. Sorry. So I know that these 4 needs to be filled in. So this is just something to help me get some tiles going. So basically, if we are to look at this 6 and 2 that I mentioned earlier, this could be this. If this was to be the 2, or this could be the 6. This one here has to be part of one of the 2. But if this was the 2 and it was 1 and then that one was a 2, then there can't be a blank and then 6. So because there's only 5 left after that gap. So this one here has to be part of the 6, not the 2. I hope that makes sense to you. So if this is part of the 6 and there's a 2 to follow it, the 2 would have to be these 2 here. So I can fill them in, put the blank there. That has to be part of the 6. And then that's a blank there. You do have to have a bit of a logical thinking mind here. So now these 2 columns here, this has helped me a lot because they're 1s. So that means they all have to be blanks here. So let's just fill them in just to help me visualize how the rest of this goes. So we've got quite a bit of progress now already. The 8s and the 7s here, this hasn't helped me much here, but for this 6, this has helped me a lot. Filling in these as blanks has helped me because the 6 could have extended all the way to the end, but now I know it doesn't. The furthest it can extend to is there. Again, that might be a fill in there, but we know for sure that these 3 will have to be filled in. Interestingly, this column here, let's look, there's a 2 and there's a 4. Now, the bottom group has to be a 4, which means these can't be part of it. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left in this column. There's a 2 and a 4, that makes 6. There has to be a gap in the middle, which makes it a 7. So the only way this can work is if those were the 2 and the 4. So that has made our 6 in this row. So I'm going to fill them in as a blank. So this column here has to be a 3, and there's 1 there, and there's a blank above it, so the remaining 2 for this 3 has to be there. Let's fill in this column. So now this row, let's look at this row, there's only 1 here. I've already filled in 1, so we know that that's a no on all of them. This row here though is a 2, it still could be either one of them, couldn't it? But if we look at this column here, there's a 2, we've already filled it in, which means we can say no to all of them, which means the 2 for that row has to be there. And then we filled our 1 in for that column, so let's just say no to all of them. I've just said no, yep. Okay, so now this row here, we've already done the 3, fill that in. This row here, we've got a 1 and a 3. We filled in the 3 already, haven't filled in the 1, but as you can see, there's only 2 spaces left. So that has to be the 1, that has to be the gap. This one here, this row, has to be a 4. So that one will have to be 1. This column is a 1 and a 2. We filled them in already, so let's do that. Again, this whole row actually is done because that's a 2. Okay, so now we've got these 7 and 8s that we worked on earlier. So that has to be the 8, and the 7 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's a no. The 2 we've already done on this top row here, as is the 3 on this row. But the 3 here isn't done, and the 2 on that column. Fill that in, and nice and easy. When you know how it's done, okay, again, I don't know what this is. Oh, it's a mermaid. Is that a mermaid? It looks like a mermaid to me. And we've made a mermaid picture. Oh, and it moves. That's pretty cool. Little animation there. So that is basically how Picross works. I've played quite a few of these games. On the 3DS it works really well with the touchscreen, as you can imagine. Here we got 12 problems here, and there's 4 levels here. I'm guessing you have to fill them all into one the next, so hopefully there's 48, maybe there's more, who knows. I'd love there to be like a million, because I absolutely love these. On the 3DS though, going back to that, the ones I've played, there's even a Twilight Princess one on there. Obviously, using the touchscreen, these games are amazing. But my only problem with it is, on these ones, the timer goes down. On the ones I've played on the DS, 3DS, the timer goes up. So if you make a mistake, it adds 2 minutes to your time. And obviously, it's sort of like a high score thing where you want the lowest time possible. But I really saw it as them being no real punishment to actually just hitting anywhere, and just it tells you if you're right or wrong, and you can just keep doing it till you get it right, and then just start it again, knowing what the puzzle is to get a high score that way, or low time. But on this one, because if you make mistakes, you run out of time and you game over, and so there's sort of like this feeling of urgency about it, and I really like that in these sorts of games. So yeah, obviously other people might prefer there not being a time limit to these because they want to really take their time to think about these, but I just find the time limit really escalates the fun for me. But it's not for everyone, is it? There's always the rewind feature in this game if you make a mistake, I suppose. So there's that. So hopefully for people that didn't know how Picross works, as I said, the tutorial's in Japanese, so this wouldn't really explain to you. So hopefully this has explained to you how Picross works, so you can now dive into this knowing how it is. So let me know in the comments down below if you like Picross games. I personally love them. I've never played this one before, so I'm looking forward to trying out all the puzzles. Just let me know. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button to see more from us in the future. So thank you so much for watching this, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.